10 signs you should cut ties even with family or friends. Stoicism. Have you ever stopped and wondered if there are people in your life who might be holding you back, even if they are family or friends? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook how certain relationships can drain our energy and hinder our growth. Stoicism teaches us an important lesson. Not everyone deserves a place in your life. And sometimes the wisest choice is to cut ties, yes, even with those we care about. Why? Because staying in toxic relationships, no matter how deep the bond, only keeps us stuck in a cycle of negativity. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 unmistakable signs that it's time to let go of people who are no longer serving your growth or well-being. You don't have to be harsh to make the right decision, but trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why some ties need to be severed. Stick around for the final sign. It's one that might just change the way you look at your relationships forever. But before we dive in, I want to tell you a story that perfectly captures the essence of this idea. It's about a man named Julian, who lived in a busy city, always surrounded by people and obligations. Despite his best efforts to stay positive and productive, he felt weighed down by certain friendships that seemed to take more than they gave. Over time, he realized that these relationships, though once close, were no longer nurturing his growth. They were like anchors, dragging him into a sea of negativity and doubt. And so, Julian made the difficult decision to cut ties, even with those he thought would always be part of his life. As painful as it was, he found peace in his decision and was finally able to focus on his own path. The lesson here? Sometimes cutting ties is essential for your own well-being, growth, and peace of mind. And even though it's not always easy, it's a necessary step to take if you want to live a life full of purpose and balance. If you're ready to explore these 10 signs, make sure to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Let's dive in. Number 1. Signs you should cut ties. 1. The relationship drains you. There comes a point in life when you must take an honest look at the relationships around you and ask, are they building me up or tearing me down? This is where the Stoic principle of prioritizing your inner peace comes into play. The first and most glaring sign that a relationship might no longer serve you is if it consistently leaves you feeling emotionally drained. Think of your energy as a precious resource. When you spend time with someone, does that interaction replenish your spirit, or does it leave you feeling depleted and heavy? It's a little like pouring water into a vessel that has a leak. No matter how much effort you put in, it never feels like enough. Healthy relationships should nurture your growth and vitality, not strip you of your joy or your ability to focus on your well-being. Let's take a modern example. Imagine Emma, a young professional who cherished her childhood friend Lisa. They grew up together and shared countless memories. But as they entered adulthood, Emma noticed that every conversation with Lisa seemed to revolve around negativity and complaints, with little concern for Emma's struggles or successes. At first, Emma brushed it off, telling herself it was just a rough patch. But the pattern persisted. Each interaction left her feeling more drained than fulfilled. Emma finally realized that while the friendship had a rich history, its present state no longer aligned with the person she was striving to become. Let me ask you, how many relationships do you hold on to out of guilt or nostalgia, even when they leave you feeling empty? The Stoics taught us to prioritize our inner tranquility above all else. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and a key figure in Stoicism, wrote in his Meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Similarly, if a relationship no longer contributes positively to your life, it is not aligned with what is good or true for your path. Stoic wisdom encourages us to detach with grace, focusing instead on the relationships that uplift us and foster mutual growth. Cutting ties doesn't mean you harbor resentment. It means you choose to honor yourself by letting go of what no longer serves your peace. Now consider this. If a friendship or family bond consistently drains you, What is it costing you in terms of time, emotional health, and mental clarity? Perhaps you stay because of societal expectations. You can't cut ties with family, or fear of confrontation. But Stoicism reminds us to question these assumptions. Is it truly virtuous to endure a relationship that diminishes you, or is it more virtuous to step away and preserve your ability to live fully and authentically? Ask yourself, are you holding on to this connection out of love, or out of fear of change? This question alone holds one of the Stoic secrets to finding freedom in your relationships. Emma, after reflecting deeply, decided to have an open and compassionate conversation with Lisa. She shared her feelings honestly, without blame, but also made it clear that she needed to prioritize her emotional health. While Lisa initially reacted defensively, Emma stood firm in her decision. Over time, Emma found that removing this draining relationship opened space for friendships that were more balanced and supportive. This isn't to say it was easy. Detachment often comes with discomfort. But like the Stoics, Emma learned that true strength lies in making choices that align with her highest good, not in clinging to what feels familiar, but ultimately harmful. Let's bring this back to you. Think of your closest relationships. Do they energize and inspire you, or do they weigh you down? If the latter, it might be time to assess whether these connections are still worth maintaining. Detaching doesn't mean you're abandoning love or compassion. It means you're choosing to uphold your own well-being so you can offer your best self to the world. Life is too short to spend it in relationships that sap your energy and joy. Take a moment to reflect. Who in your life truly uplifts you, and who leaves you feeling diminished? The answers to these questions might hold the Stoic secrets to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Prioritize your well-being, and you'll find that the relationships you nurture will be the ones that matter most. 2. You feel unappreciated and taken for granted. Feeling unappreciated in any relationship, even one with family or close friends, is a profound signal to reevaluate its role in your life. When your efforts are consistently ignored or unreciprocated, it's like pouring water into a bottomless vessel. No matter how much you give, it never fills. This dynamic, when prolonged, begins to chip away at your sense of self-worth, leaving you feeling invisible, undervalued, or even used. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you remain in a relationship where your contributions are unacknowledged, your mind may internalize a harmful narrative that you are somehow insufficient. Over time, this perception undermines your inner peace, self-respect, and emotional resilience. Relationships should be havens of mutual support and recognition, not sources of imbalance that weigh you down. When the dynamic shifts to one-sided effort, where the other person takes without giving, you inevitably bear an unfair emotional burden that leaves you drained and resentful. Such relationships, far from uplifting you, slowly corrode the foundation of mutual respect, which is vital for any meaningful connection to thrive. In the philosophy of modern Stoicism, a central teaching is to focus on what lies within our control. You cannot compel someone to value or appreciate you, but you can control your decision to protect your well-being by stepping away from a relationship that no longer serves you. The words of Epictetus echo this principle. Keep company only with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. This wisdom reminds us that even familial or long-term friendships are not immune to reevaluation. If someone's behavior demonstrates that they only appear when they need something, but disappear when you require support, it highlights an unhealthy imbalance. Over time, this pattern becomes more than unfair. It becomes emotionally exhausting. Walking away from such relationships may feel like a selfish act on the surface, but it is, in truth, a powerful declaration of self-preservation and self-respect. By stepping away, you create space in your life for relationships that are grounded in mutual care, respect, and appreciation. This reevaluation doesn't mean acting impulsively or harboring resentment. Modern Stoicism encourages rational detachment, which involves stepping back to evaluate relationships with clarity and logic rather than with raw emotion. It's about asking yourself whether a connection aligns with your values and contributes to your growth. When a relationship consistently drains you, leaving you to question your worth or feel unfulfilled, it's a clear sign that it no longer supports your journey toward a more virtuous and fulfilling life. This can be especially painful when it involves family or friends you've known for years, but it reflects a deeper commitment to living a life rooted in dignity, self-respect, and the pursuit of meaningful connections. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, emphasized this when he said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." In today's world, where time and energy are precious, the cost of sustaining draining relationships is too high. Modern Stoicism teaches us to prioritize relationships that uplift, inspire, and reciprocate the care and effort we give. Recognizing the need to let go is not an act of cruelty but of courage. When you decide to walk away from unappreciative relationships, you're not only setting boundaries but also affirming your value as a person. You're making space for people who genuinely see and appreciate you, for those who reciprocate the energy and kindness you bring into their lives. Life is too brief to waste in relationships that diminish your spirit or pull you away from your true potential. As you reflect on your connections, ask yourself this simple yet profound question: does this relationship make me stronger, or does it diminish me? The courage to let go is often met with resistance, both internally and externally, but it's a necessary step in cultivating a life aligned with your values and aspirations. This decision requires you to trust yourself and your instincts, knowing that prioritizing your well-being is not an act of selfishness but of self-love. Walking away from relationships that leave you feeling unappreciated is an act of honoring your worth and recognizing that you deserve to surround yourself with people who uplift, support, and value you. It may be difficult, but as the Stoics teach us, the path to a life of fulfillment and harmony often requires us to make choices that are uncomfortable, yet necessary. By doing so, you not only free yourself from the burden of unreciprocated effort, but also open the door to healthier, more enriching connections that truly deserve a place in your life. 3. They constantly disrespect you. A relationship defined by consistent disrespect is a glaring sign that it needs to be reassessed, as respect forms the bedrock of any meaningful connection. Disrespect can take on many faces, whether emotional, verbal, or physical. It often appears as dismissive attitudes, belittling remarks, or even outright cruelty, wearing away at your sense of self-worth. These behaviors are not occasional missteps or one-off moments of poor judgment. They are recurring patterns that expose an underlying disregard for your feelings, boundaries, and values. When someone habitually undermines your worth, it chips away at your self-esteem and leaves you questioning your value. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Constant exposure to disrespect tarnishes the way you perceive yourself, casting shadows over your confidence and personal identity. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, trust, and empathy, creating a supportive environment where both individuals feel seen, heard, and valued. Such relationships are built on a foundation of equality, where differences are navigated with kindness and understanding rather than dismissal or hostility. However, when one person continuously invalidates the other's emotions, needs, or contributions, the relationship ceases to nurture growth and instead becomes a source of harm. Modern Stoicism emphasizes the importance of inner peace and the pursuit of virtue, and enduring disrespect violates both principles. To tolerate disrespect is to compromise your dignity and impede your journey toward a fulfilling and virtuous life. It is not Stoic to allow another's negative behavior to disrupt your tranquility or diminish your self-worth. Disrespect often begins subtly, a sarcastic comment here, a dismissive wave of the hand there. But over time, these microaggressions compound into a persistent assault on your dignity. The person who disrespects you may disguise their actions as jokes or downplay your concerns, leaving you to feel as though you're overreacting. Yet the impact is real, and the toll it takes on your emotional and mental health cannot be ignored. When disrespect becomes a pattern, it is no longer about isolated disagreements or personality quirks. It is a clear indication that the person does not value you as an equal or respect your inherent worth. Relationships should uplift and inspire you to be your best self, not make you feel smaller or unimportant. As Seneca advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. Recognizing consistent disrespect is an act of self-awareness, and taking steps to address it is an act of courage. Walking away from such a relationship is not an expression of anger or bitterness, but rather a declaration of self-worth and the desire to protect your emotional well-being. Modern Stoicism reminds us that the external world, including the people we surround ourselves with, should not have unchecked power over our inner peace. If someone's behavior repeatedly disrupts your sense of self-respect and serenity, it is a sign that the relationship no longer serves its purpose. Life is too short to allow toxic dynamics to linger. By choosing to distance yourself, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections that align with your values and foster growth. It is important to remember that leaving a relationship rooted in disrespect does not mean you lack compassion for the other person. On the contrary, it reflects a deep commitment to both your well-being and the Stoic ideal of living a life guided by reason and virtue. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control your response. And sometimes, the best response is to step away. As Epictetus teaches, keep company only with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Surrounding yourself with people who respect and support you is not only a gift to yourself, but also a step toward living a life of purpose and integrity. It is an act of self-love and a profound acknowledgement of your inherent worth. 4. The relationship causes more harm than good. Sometimes the hardest decision you'll ever make is letting go of a relationship, even if it's one you've cherished for years. Yet, when a connection consistently causes more harm than good, it becomes necessary to reassess its role in your life. Toxic relationships can slowly erode your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being, leaving you feeling anxious, depressed, or angry after every interaction. You might notice that this stress seeps into other parts of your life, affecting your work, other relationships, and even your sense of self-worth. Imagine being in a friendship or family bond where negativity feels like a constant companion. Does this relationship uplift you or does it diminish your sense of who you are? Relationships should bring you strength, joy, and support, not leave you questioning your value or drowning in self-doubt. Let's bring this idea to life with a story. Jake, a successful entrepreneur, had a close friend from college, Rob, who was always critical of his decisions. No matter what Jake achieved, Rob found a way to belittle his efforts or point out flaws. At first, Jake rationalized it as tough love, thinking Rob was simply pushing him to improve. But over time, the pattern became clear. Rob's comments weren't constructive but destructive. Jake started feeling less confident, second-guessing himself even in situations where he knew he was capable. His mood shifted, and the stress of their interactions spilled into his work and personal life. It wasn't until a close confidant pointed out the toll this relationship was taking that Jake finally recognized the harm it was causing. Let me ask you, have you ever held onto a relationship out of loyalty, even when it chipped away at your peace of mind? The Stoics understood the importance of protecting one's inner tranquility. Marcus Aurelius advised in Meditations, we should remove ourselves from harmful influences and avoid those who bring out the worst in us. When a relationship becomes toxic, continuing to invest in it is like watering a dead plant. It's an act of futility. Stoic wisdom reminds us that we have a responsibility to care for our well-being and make choices that align with a life of virtue and balance. Walking away doesn't mean you lack compassion. It means you value yourself enough to preserve your emotional and mental health. In the end, Your well-being is the foundation upon which your life is built. Think about this. If a relationship consistently leaves you feeling worse about yourself, what is it truly offering you? Sometimes we hesitate to cut ties because of the history we share with someone or the fear of being judged by others. But ask yourself this: is maintaining this connection worth sacrificing your peace, happiness, and growth? One of the Stoic secrets to a fulfilling life is learning to let go of what hinders your progress, even when it feels difficult. Jake eventually chose to step back from his friendship with Rob, not with anger but with clarity. By doing so, he reclaimed his confidence and energy, and he found himself surrounded by relationships that celebrated and supported him, rather than tearing him down. I challenge you to reflect deeply on your own connections. Are there relationships in your life that are more harmful than helpful? If so, what are they costing you in terms of your mental clarity, emotional balance, and personal growth? Remember, cutting ties doesn't mean giving up on love or kindness. It means choosing to honor yourself and your worth. Life is too precious to spend in relationships that hurt more than they heal. Prioritize the bonds that nurture and empower you, and you'll find that letting go of the harmful ones paves the way for a brighter, more peaceful future. The strength to make these decisions lies within you. Tap into it and don't be afraid to choose yourself. 5. You find yourself pretending to be someone you're not. Authenticity is a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, and if you find yourself constantly pretending to be someone you're not to please another person, it's a glaring indication that the relationship may not be serving your well-being. Pretending often stems from a fear of judgment, criticism, or rejection, a fear that prompts you to suppress your true personality, values, or desires in favor of fitting into someone else's expectations. Over time, this behavior erodes your sense of self, leaving you disconnected from your authentic identity. You may feel like you're living a lie, trapped in a facade that exists solely to maintain peace or avoid conflict. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. A relationship that forces you to compromise your authenticity undermines your integrity and hinders your ability to live in alignment with your true self. In modern Stoicism, the concept of living in accordance with your nature is paramount. When you alter your behavior, stifle your voice, or hide essential aspects of your identity to gain acceptance, you violate the core Stoic principle of self-honesty. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, providing a safe space where both individuals can express themselves freely without fear of judgment. If a relationship demands that you change who you are or punishes you for being authentic, it stifles your growth and creates an environment of emotional suffocation. Seneca wisely observed, "Let us not seek to alter circumstances, but let us seek to alter ourselves." But this change must come from a place of personal growth, not external pressure to conform to someone else's standards. In today's fast-paced, image-driven world, the pressure to present an idealized version of yourself is immense, even in personal relationships. However, continually pretending to be someone you're not comes at a high cost. It breeds self-doubt, confusion, and a lingering sense of dissatisfaction as you lose touch with your true self. You may find yourself questioning who you really are outside the role you've assumed in the relationship. This emotional toll is compounded by the constant fear of being misunderstood or criticized, creating a cycle of stress and insecurity that can feel suffocating. Walking on eggshells to maintain the status quo is not a mark of a healthy relationship. It's a sign that the dynamic is fundamentally imbalanced. A fulfilling relationship should encourage you to embrace and grow into your best self, not force you to shrink or conceal who you are. When you constantly have to mold yourself into what someone else wants, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but also denying the other person the opportunity to know and appreciate the real you. As Epictetus noted, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This isn't a call to recklessness, but a reminder that being true to yourself even when it invites misunderstanding or criticism, is the path to genuine connection and self-respect. Pretending might preserve peace in the short term, but it comes at the expense of your long-term happiness and fulfillment. Reflecting on relationships through the lens of modern Stoicism, ask yourself whether the connection supports or suppresses your individuality. A relationship that doesn't allow you to be yourself is a relationship that isn't truly compatible with your values or aspirations. Letting go of such a bond, though difficult, is an act of courage and self-respect. It creates the freedom to invest in connections that celebrate your uniqueness rather than stifle it. As you navigate this decision, remember that a relationship worth keeping is one that nurtures your authenticity and encourages you to grow, not one that forces you to hide in the shadows of who you truly are. By prioritizing your authenticity, you align with the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with your true self, a pursuit that leads to inner peace and resilience. Do you have a relationship that is draining you or making you feel unappreciated? Share your thoughts in the comments below with a quick response like, "Yes, I feel drained," or "I'm ready to let go." And be sure to stick around until the end. There are more helpful tips for you, and I promise they'll surprise you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more practical advice on how to live a Stoic life. 6. They fail to respect your boundaries. Boundaries are essential for our emotional and physical well-being, forming the foundation of healthy, balanced relationships. They help define what we are comfortable with and what we are not. When someone consistently disregards or crosses these boundaries, it shows a lack of respect for your autonomy, dignity, and personal space. Boundaries are not arbitrary rules. They are expressions of self-respect and key to ensuring mutual respect in any relationship. When communicated, they assert your right to be treated with kindness, fairness, and consideration. When repeatedly violated, it reveals that the person prioritizes their own desires over your comfort, leaving you feeling disrespected and unvalued. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Enforcing your boundaries is a powerful act of self-control. It's a way to preserve your peace of mind and emotional health. However, when your boundaries are consistently ignored, you can feel powerless and depleted, and over time, this can lead to resentment and frustration. Healthy relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, thrive on respect and mutual care. Boundaries help maintain balance, allowing individuals to retain their individuality and personal space, fostering trust. When boundaries are habitually dismissed, the relationship shifts toward dysfunction. In relationships where boundaries are consistently violated, you may find yourself accommodating the other person's needs while neglecting your own. This can lead to a gradual loss of your identity as you prioritize their demands. Over time, you may feel as if your own preferences are secondary to theirs. This dynamic not only drains you emotionally, but it also contradicts modern Stoicism, which emphasizes the importance of inner peace, integrity, and self-respect. Allowing your boundaries to be disrespected erodes these principles and damages your emotional well-being. The failure to respect boundaries isn't a simple misunderstanding. It's a fundamental disregard for fairness and equality in the relationship. The situation becomes even more difficult when your attempts to assert boundaries are met with guilt-tripping or manipulation. Such tactics make you feel as though your needs are unreasonable, even though they are valid. This can lead to emotional distress, making you second-guess yourself and feel guilty for expecting respect. Relationships that repeatedly violate boundaries often become manipulative, where the focus shifts from mutual respect to control and power dynamics. This leaves you feeling trapped, helpless, and resentful. As Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." If your boundaries are consistently violated, while you cannot control the other person's actions, you can control your response. If their disrespect continues to harm your emotional health, it may be time to reevaluate the relationship. Ask yourself if this relationship is truly serving your well-being, or if it is eroding your peace of mind. Walking away from a relationship where your boundaries are violated is not selfish. It is an affirmation of your self-worth and right to live authentically. It is a statement that you value your emotional well-being enough to distance yourself from environments that are toxic or harmful to your growth. Healthy relationships should enhance your life, offering love, support, and encouragement, not draining you or forcing you to compromise your core values. Enforcing your boundaries is not about shutting others out, but about creating a space where respect and trust can thrive. It is about establishing clear limits on what is acceptable and standing firm in your belief that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. In today's fast-paced world, where emotional energy is limited, modern Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control and let go of what disrupts our inner peace. By distancing ourselves from relationships that violate our boundaries, we honor our emotional well-being. This makes room for new connections that genuinely nurture, support, and uplift us. These are the relationships that should be the foundation of our lives, ones where mutual respect, trust, and care can grow. By maintaining healthy boundaries, we protect ourselves and ensure that we can engage in relationships that contribute to our well-being and allow us to live authentically. 7. They manipulate or gaslight you. Sometimes the people we love the most can become the source of our deepest emotional pain. When friends or family manipulate or gaslight you, it's like losing touch with who you truly are. Gaslighting is particularly damaging. It makes you question not just the behavior of others, but your own thoughts and feelings. Imagine being repeatedly told that your emotions are wrong, or that your reactions are too extreme when they are simply an honest reflection of how you feel. Over time, this manipulative behavior can make you doubt your own mind, leaving you trapped in a constant state of confusion and self-doubt. You may begin to feel like you can no longer trust yourself, as though everything you've known to be true about yourself is being distorted. Manipulation takes many forms, from guilt-tripping to controlling your decisions, and it can slowly erode your sense of self-worth. Manipulators often use your emotions and love for them to twist situations to their advantage, leading you to feel isolated and powerless. You may find yourself walking on eggshells, afraid that a small mistake will trigger their anger or disappointment. This emotional toll can drain you, leaving you with a weakened sense of self-esteem and a nagging feeling that you are constantly failing to meet their expectations. Living like this can be emotionally exhausting, and it's easy to start questioning your worth and wondering if you deserve better relationships. But you don't have to stay in this cycle. Recognizing the signs of gaslighting and manipulation is the first step toward reclaiming your peace. Trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, it probably is. Letting go of toxic relationships, especially when they involve family or close friends, is never easy. You might fear rejection or feel guilty for walking away from someone you've cared for. But sometimes, in order to preserve your emotional well-being, you need to detach yourself from people who no longer serve you. It's important to understand that cutting ties doesn't mean you are abandoning responsibilities or betraying anyone. Instead, it means choosing your mental health over the pain of staying in a toxic relationship. While this decision is hard, it can lead to significant personal growth and healing. The Stoics believed in the power of inner strength and self-reliance, and these teachings can guide you during these challenging times. The Stoic philosophy reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. In situations like these, the Stoic approach is to emotionally detach from the toxicity, prioritizing your peace over a relationship that causes harm. Have you ever been manipulated or gaslighted? What did you do to regain your peace? If you haven't yet experienced such a relationship, how would you handle it if you did? The key lesson here is clear. Protecting your mental and emotional health often requires letting go of relationships that no longer benefit you, no matter how difficult or painful that decision might be. It's not about being selfish. It's about recognizing that you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift, support, and respect you. By standing up for yourself and distancing yourself from toxic behaviors, you honor your own values and your peace of mind. Remember, recognizing and removing yourself from toxic relationships is an act of self-respect. By embracing Stoic wisdom and inner strength, you can reclaim control over your life and move forward with clarity and confidence, knowing that healing and growth are within your reach. 8. There's no effort to improve or change. In the philosophy of modern Stoicism, one central principle is that life demands continuous personal growth, reflection, and self-improvement. This idea extends to relationships, particularly with those we hold dear, family, friends, and romantic partners. A relationship that lacks mutual effort to grow and evolve can become emotionally draining and stagnant over time. If you've communicated your concerns and needs, but the other person remains indifferent or resistant, it's a sign that the relationship is no longer progressing. At this point, it may be necessary to consider cutting ties, even with people you care about. The challenge isn't simply the problems within the relationship, but the unwillingness of one party to address or improve them. Stoic philosophy teaches that obstacles are not to be avoided, but embraced as opportunities for growth. As Marcus Aurelius stated, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In relationships, this means that conflicts and challenges can serve as a means of personal and mutual development, provided both individuals are willing to address them. However, if one person refuses to make any effort to change or grow, the relationship becomes a cycle of frustration. Apologies without real action lead to emotional exhaustion and feelings of helplessness. Genuine change is not just about words, but about observable efforts to improve and move forward. In any healthy relationship, both individuals should be equally committed to evolving together. This mutual growth requires both people to confront their flaws, support each other, and strive to become better versions of themselves. When one person isn't willing to put in the effort, the relationship becomes imbalanced, with one party doing all the emotional work. Over time, this imbalance leads to frustration, isolation, and emotional fatigue, as one person constantly tries to repair a relationship that the other person isn't interested in fixing. The belief that things will improve if you simply wait longer is a trap. If the other person is unwilling to change, no amount of effort on your part will bring about the desired growth. Recognizing when it's time to let go is a turning point, and this is where modern Stoicism offers crucial insight. The Stoics remind us not to become overly attached to relationships that no longer serve our well-being or growth. Holding on to a stagnant relationship, especially when there is no sign of improvement, can hinder our potential and prevent us from living a fulfilling life. Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This highlights the importance of how we respond to situations, including relationships, and underscores the power we have to choose what we allow into our lives. If a relationship no longer contributes to your happiness or growth, letting go is a necessary step toward maintaining your peace and progress. Cutting ties, even with someone close, is not an act of failure, but one of strength. It's a recognition that we deserve relationships that nurture and support our growth. Holding on to unhealthy relationships out of obligation or fear prevents us from making room for those who genuinely add value to our lives. In today's world, there is often pressure to maintain relationships for the sake of tradition or appearance, but modern Stoicism teaches us to prioritize our emotional health and inner peace. By letting go of those who are unwilling to meet us halfway, we reclaim our energy and move forward on our journey towards self-improvement and happiness. Remember, letting go doesn't mean abandoning love or people. It's about respecting your boundaries and prioritizing your well-being. Just as we work to improve ourselves, we must surround ourselves with people who are committed to their own growth as well. The ultimate goal is to cultivate relationships that contribute to our happiness and development, which requires that both parties are willing to evolve together. As modern Stoicism teaches us, we have the power to choose who we let into our lives, and this decision should be based on the value and reciprocity they bring. By releasing those who are unwilling to evolve, we make space for more meaningful relationships that support our continued growth and happiness. 9. You don't feel safe or comfortable. A key and often overlooked element of any healthy relationship is the sense of safety and comfort it should provide. Whether familial, romantic, or platonic, relationships should be spaces where individuals feel free to express themselves openly without fear of judgment, criticism, or negative consequences. These relationships should foster emotional security, where everyone can truly be themselves. However, if you find yourself consistently anxious, uneasy, or fearful in the presence of someone you care about, it's a strong indication that the relationship is out of balance. This isn't a fleeting discomfort, but rather a deep issue that should not be ignored. Modern Stoicism, a philosophy that has stood the test of time, teaches that inner peace is essential to a well-balanced life. According to Stoic principles, we are responsible for maintaining our mental and emotional tranquility, regardless of external circumstances or other people's behaviors. A relationship that disrupts this peace can have a profound and long-lasting impact on our emotional well-being, often in subtle ways that we might not immediately recognize. The Stoics remind us to focus on what we can control, our reactions and emotions, and to let go of anything that disturbs our peace of mind. This is especially relevant in relationships that make us feel judged, criticized, or misunderstood, where anxiety and fear can start to eat away at our sense of self-worth. In relationships where you feel consistently on edge, every interaction can become a source of stress. You may find yourself walking on eggshells, constantly monitoring your words and actions to avoid upsetting the other person. This heightened state of alertness can be emotionally exhausting. You begin to alter your behavior, fearing that your true self might not be accepted. This need to constantly be on guard indicates that the relationship no longer serves your best interests. The simple act of being yourself should not feel like a risk, yet in such a relationship, it does. If your interactions with someone make you feel emotionally drained, fearful, or unstable, it's a clear sign that the dynamic is unhealthy and needs to be reassessed. The emotional toll of this kind of vigilance is immense. Over time, you may find that your sense of self is slipping away. Your thoughts, feelings, and desires may seem secondary to the needs of the other person, leading to feelings of frustration, instability, and emotional exhaustion. Instead of being a source of comfort and support, the relationship becomes a burden. This ongoing cycle of negative emotions leaves you feeling drained rather than uplifted. In such cases, it becomes crucial to listen to your emotions and recognize that feeling unsafe, unappreciated, or anxious is a signal that something needs to change. Seneca, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, wisely stated, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." His words remind us that much of the anxiety we experience in unhealthy relationships comes not from the situation itself, but from how we perceive it. We become trapped in a cycle of worry, imagining the worst outcomes, and this often distorts our ability to see the reality of the situation clearly. We may lose sight of our own needs and desires as we focus solely on managing the other person's emotions and reactions. In today's fast-paced world, where stress and emotional strain are common, it can be easy to overlook the impact that unhealthy relationships have on our well-being. Modern Stoicism teaches us the importance of self-awareness and personal responsibility in protecting our emotional health. We must recognize when a relationship is doing more harm than good and take the necessary steps to safeguard our peace of mind. If you consistently feel unsafe, unappreciated, or emotionally drained in a relationship, it is time to reconsider whether it is worth maintaining. Cutting ties with someone, even if they are family or a close friend, is not an act of selfishness. Rather, it is a courageous decision to prioritize your own well-being. No relationship should make you sacrifice your inner peace or sense of self. Your emotional health is just as important as your physical health. If a relationship consistently leaves you feeling anxious or fearful, the emotional toll can be overwhelming. You have the right to protect your well-being by maintaining boundaries that safeguard your peace of mind. By doing so, you create space for relationships that are built on mutual respect, understanding, and support. Embracing the principles of modern Stoicism allows you to recognize when it is time to let go of unhealthy relationships and focus on those that contribute positively to your life. By cultivating the wisdom to protect your inner peace, you can create space for relationships that genuinely nourish your emotional well-being, allowing you to live authentically and 10. The relationship brings regret and negativity. Imagine investing your time and energy into a relationship only to feel drained, disappointed, or regretful after every interaction. If this describes how you feel about someone, it's a powerful signal that the relationship may be doing more harm than good. Healthy relationships are meant to uplift you, inspire growth, and bring positivity into your life. They should be spaces where you feel supported, encouraged, and valued. But if instead, every encounter leaves you feeling empty or regretful, it's clear that something isn't right. It's easy to get stuck in the belief that you owe someone your time because of past connections, but the reality is that relationships that bring nothing but negativity only hold you back. The constant weight of disappointment, bitterness, or frustration can overshadow whatever good moments may exist, leaving you feeling emotionally drained and disconnected. Think about it. When you're constantly questioning why you invested so much energy into a relationship, or when you feel like you're carrying a burden rather than experiencing mutual growth, it's a sign that something needs to change. I once spoke with a friend who had been friends with someone for years, but every time they met, it was the same story. Her friend would complain, criticize, and never show any interest in her well-being, leaving her emotionally exhausted. She was unsure whether to cut ties, fearing the loss of a long-time connection. But as we talked, she realized that the regret she felt after every conversation was overshadowing any good memories they had. The negativity in the relationship had become overwhelming, leaving no space for joy, growth, or peace. She finally decided to walk away, and although it wasn't easy, she found that her life started to change for the better. She began to focus on healthier, more positive relationships, and soon found herself surrounded by people who encouraged her growth rather than draining her energy. If you find yourself in a relationship that consistently brings regret or leaves you feeling empty, it's essential to recognize this as a sign to reevaluate. You deserve more than to be weighed down by negativity. A relationship that constantly drains your energy or brings you nothing but feelings of emptiness isn't worth holding on to. This isn't about cutting people off out of anger or resentment, but rather recognizing when a relationship no longer aligns with your values or contributes to your well-being. It's about understanding that the time and energy you invest in a relationship should ultimately make you feel lighter, happier, and more at peace. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the importance of controlling what you can and letting go of what you cannot change. In this case, you can control your own response to negativity in relationships, and sometimes that means deciding to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. The Stoic secrets of inner peace teach us that while we cannot always control the actions of others, we can choose how to protect our mental and emotional well-being. When a relationship consistently brings regret, it's a clear signal that it's time to move on. Trust yourself and your intuition. You know when a relationship is holding you back from a healthier, more fulfilling life. Are you holding on to relationships out of obligation, or are they genuinely uplifting you? How does each interaction leave you feeling? Drained, regretful, or inspired? Have you noticed that the negativity in some relationships has started to overshadow any positive aspects? By recognizing these signs, you can begin to let go of relationships that no longer contribute to your happiness. And remember, sometimes the most empowering thing you can do for yourself is to create space for new, healthier connections that support your growth and peace of mind. Letting go of negativity is not just about freeing yourself from toxic relationships. It's about making room for joy, peace, and the opportunity to build relationships that truly align with who you are and the life you want to live. If you recognize any of these signs in your relationships, it's time to take action. Do you feel drained or unappreciated? Or maybe you're constantly faced with disrespect or manipulation? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below by typing, "I need a change," or "Time to set boundaries." And make sure to watch until the end, because we at number 2 will be giving you reasons why even the closest relationships need to end. Number 2. Reasons why you should cut ties. Cutting ties with toxic relationships is one of the most effective ways to safeguard your emotional and mental well-being. Unhealthy relationships can have long-lasting effects on your self-esteem, happiness, and overall sense of security. Toxic people can drain your energy, undermine your confidence, and create a constant source of stress in your life. By recognizing the signs of toxicity and taking action to distance yourself, you are making an intentional choice to prioritize your mental health. This proactive step allows you to heal from emotional wounds and regain control over your thoughts and feelings. When you stay in negative relationships, you risk compromising your emotional state, which can have ripple effects on your work, personal life, and overall happiness. However, by cutting ties with those who contribute to this toxicity, you are actively creating an environment where your mental and emotional health can thrive. This act of self-protection is not only about removing harmful influences, but also about embracing your own power to choose who has access to your life and energy. Protecting yourself in this way is an act of self-love, as it helps you to nurture and care for your inner peace. Choosing to cut ties with those who drain you is ultimately an empowering decision, one that leads to a healthier, more stable emotional state. In doing so, you open the door to healing, allowing your heart and mind to heal and grow beyond the constraints of negativity. Letting go of toxic relationships is not just about avoiding harm. It is also about creating the space necessary for personal growth and self-improvement. When you remove the negative influences in your life, you free up time, emotional energy, and mental bandwidth that were previously consumed by unhealthy dynamics. This newfound freedom allows you to focus on developing yourself, achieving your goals, and pursuing the things that matter most to you. You can channel the emotional energy once spent on dealing with toxic individuals into building positive habits, learning new skills, and growing as a person. Negative relationships often act as barriers, holding you back from reaching your potential. They can drain your motivation, sow doubt in your abilities, and prevent you from seeing opportunities for growth. By cutting ties with these people, you open up a world of possibilities that were once obscured by the weight of negativity. Furthermore, the space you create allows room for healthier, more supportive relationships that foster your development. Positive people who encourage your personal growth and support your goals become invaluable sources of motivation and inspiration. They help you stay focused on your dreams, and with their support, you can achieve things that may have seemed out of reach before. Personal growth thrives in environments where you feel emotionally safe, valued, and understood. When you let go of those who hinder your progress, you embrace the opportunity to become the best version of yourself and confidently move forward on your life's journey. Maintaining relationships with people who do not share or respect your core values can create internal conflict and a sense of dissatisfaction. It is essential to remain true to your principles, as they form the foundation of who you are and guide your decisions in life. When you compromise on your values to maintain a relationship, you risk losing your sense of self and feeling disconnected from what truly matters to you. Cutting ties with individuals who consistently challenge or undermine your beliefs is a necessary step in preserving your integrity and self-worth. Healthy relationships should not force you to abandon your values for the sake of appeasing others. Instead, they should support and honor the principles you hold dear, creating a space where mutual respect and understanding can thrive. By letting go of relationships that contradict your values, you ensure that you are living authentically and without compromise. This empowers you to stay true to yourself, make choices that align with your beliefs, and build a life that reflects who you truly are. Choosing to sever ties with people who don't respect your values may feel difficult initially, but it ultimately protects your inner peace and enables you to maintain your sense of authenticity. When you live in alignment with your principles, you experience a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. Therefore, cutting ties is not just about removing negativity, but also about reaffirming your commitment to living an authentic, purpose-driven life. Cutting ties with toxic people can play a crucial role in restoring balance and happiness to your life. Negative relationships often create chaos, disrupt your peace of mind, and leave you feeling emotionally drained. By removing these individuals from your life, you create space for positivity, tranquility, and joy to flourish. When you no longer have to navigate the unpredictable behavior or emotional turmoil caused by toxic people, you gain the clarity and peace needed to focus on what truly matters. Restoring balance in your life means taking control of your emotional environment and surrounding yourself with those who uplift, support, and nurture your well-being. Positive relationships are essential in this process, as they provide the encouragement and love that help you stay grounded and focused on the things that bring you joy. Letting go of negativity enables you to devote more time and energy to cultivating happiness and mental stability. You can now prioritize self-care, engage in activities that nourish your soul, and create a sense of fulfillment that is free from the influence of unhealthy relationships. Happiness and balance are not passive outcomes. They require active choices and effort. By cutting ties with individuals who bring you down, you take a bold step toward creating the life you deserve, one filled with joy, peace, and emotional stability. This restoration of balance is essential for living a fulfilling life, and cutting ties with toxicity is often the first step toward achieving that peace. As we wrap up, remember that cutting ties with toxic relationships is not just a choice, it's an act of self-love and empowerment. Prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being by creating space for positive, supportive connections. You have the power to choose who you allow into your life, and by doing so, you can build a life that is truly peaceful and fulfilling. I encourage you to reflect on your own relationships and consider where changes might be necessary. How can you protect your happiness today? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation together. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more insights on living a stoic life. Remember, your well-being comes first. Take action and choose freedom.